Hi, for anybody tuning in. I just getting my laptop set up so that I can better view the comments of this live. So that's obviously why there is silence. I think we're good. I think now I can view the comments. If there's any comments. We have a live watcher. Because I'm on my computer watching. I'm just gonna say hi everyone. Hi everyone. There's a comment. Hi guys, hi guys. It's a little delayed. So I figured today we would crochet, obviously. So I am actually going to push this back some more so you can see me better. For anyone that didn't watch my live from the other day, this is the crop top that I was showing off in the live. And yeah, it turned out sewing up or crocheting up the center ended up making it work really well. So it is not my own design. For anybody watching this on the replay, you can find this design. Go to the YouTube channel Passionate Kelsey. You can find her pattern. This is the lily top. It is very cute. I had to sew mine up because the brow cups were not, they were wide enough here on the side, but they weren't wide enough going in. And I just used the crocheting technique to crochet up the middle and crochet them together. And it ended up pairing really well with the design. It looks like it was designed that way on purpose. Hey everybody, hi. I'm going to be reading my comments in through my computer. That girl GM. Hi. Hi, can I have a shout out? Hi, EC. Hi, there's your shout out. Is there anything particular you wanted me to say? Why do you want me to say 67? I'm not sure why you want me to say that, but hi. Hi everybody, Felicia. Hi. Thank you. I don't really have a way for you guys to send me money yet, but before we get started on our crocheting, I thought we would discuss the drink of the day because, of course, you gotta have a drink of some kind. Today's drink of choice is Mountain Dew Voltage. I just love these blue cans. Aren't they so cool? Also, let me know if you like my new top. It's corset in the back. Thank you so much, EC. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. What do you guys think of this new top that I've recently made? This is only my second time to wear it. I've only worn it out in public once. So this particular top, I had to crochet the middle together because the bust area, it was wide enough on the side, but not wide enough going in. So I had to crochet it together. If you want to make this crop top, you can go to the YouTube channel Passionate Kelsey, and this is her lily top. And yeah, I had to modify it because I was using the lily or the peaches and cream stripey yarn, so it's a little bit thinner than the regular yarn, and it is 100% cotton. And this is in the color green stripies, in case anybody wants to make one in this exact color. It's a much softer yarn than the peaches and cream original, but it's basically the same yarn. It comes in variegated colors only for the stripy variety, but it's a little thinner and a lot softer, but it still has a lot of structure. And so, but for me personally, I had to stitch them together because my girls kept coming out, and I didn't like that. I mean, they were like full blown coming out. So, but if you do decide that you do need to stitch it together for more coverage, I can confirm that it doesn't make the pattern look weird, like it doesn't distort any of the stitching. It looks like it was made to be done this way on purpose. You can stitch it as high up or as little as you want, and it works out. So if you ever have that issue, so that's why on mine it's stitched in the middle, and if you go watch her video for how to make it, she's not going to explain how to do that because that's not part of her video. I just had to modify it that way. Love it. It's so adorable. Nice. I bet you look so... Thank you everybody for the compliments. Again, if you want to crochet her Lily top, you can find her on YouTube at Passionate Kelsey. I'm giving her a shout out because again, it's not my own design and she has a lot of really cute designs. So, and I really had a great time making the top. It was beautiful, it was great, and it was fun. So I'm going to take a couple of sips of that and then we'll get to crocheting. Voltage. Blue raspberry Mountain Dew. Which for anybody that doesn't know, it's just raspberry. For anybody that does not know, blue raspberry is not a different flavor than raspberry. They're the exact same thing. They just add the word blue in there for marketing to make it sound cooler. So you'll buy it. Because they can charge more money for things that sound cooler. So, fun thing. Also, I will be giving away a crochet tip in today's video. So let's just get into the video. But apparently I'm just not doing too good on this particular stitch. Let me redo this stitch real quick because part of it came out and I really don't like that. I don't know what I did with the labels. Oh, they're right here. Okay, I'm going to show you what yarn I'm using here in just a second. And now that I'm on the live, I'm going to adjust my phone gimbal so that my phone is pointing, so that it's down a little more. I can't really go down further than that because of the phone charger. It's kind of like in the way, if that makes sense. Well, wait, if I go like that, maybe I can. There we go, that's better. I just, like, it's just because the cord of my phone was in the way a little bit. If you don't know, I'm not using a tripod, I'm using a phone gimbal, and it's not working. Because for some reason it went off balance and it didn't like what I was doing. So yeah. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing, you guys. I tried to make it go down further, but maybe I just need to go back more. And then that will, I just want you to be able to see my crochet a little better, so I apologize. For anyone that wants to know the yarn I'm using for this project, I am using Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. It is 100% worsted weight 4-ply medium acrylic. This yarn retails for $4.99, but next week, starting on Monday, which is basically tomorrow, they are going to be having 30% off all yarn. I know this because before I went to go shopping for yarn, I was like, well, maybe I should check if they have a yarn sale. And they didn't. They were having their bi-weekly fabric sale. If you don't know, Hobby Lobby has a bi-weekly fabric sale of 30% off all fabric and a bi-weekly yarn sale of 30% off all yarns. This is bi-weekly all year long, every year. It is a continual sale. It only takes a break for about a week and then it's back on. So you can always go on their website and check to see in their ad. It will show if the yarn's 30% off. If it's not, that means you have to wait till the following week, and then it will be 30% off that week. It wasn't this past week, so that means starting tomorrow, it will be. So starting tomorrow, if any of you need yarn, and you have a Hobby Lobby near you, it's 30% off all their yarn. And they do not jack up the price to then lower it down to the regular price. Their sales are actually legit sales. So they're the regular price and then they're discounted. And that is bi-weekly every single month. So this is another what it looks like. If anybody is wondering, it is very beautiful. It is cute. Good night, EC. Hi, everybody. Yes, it did take me so long to make. Yes, hi, everybody, hi, everybody. So we are making a Seahawks hat for anybody. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I do want to kind of be closer so you could see, but then again, the further back I am, like, the better. Like, the more of me you can see. So this is what we're working on. We are doing front post double crochets. I'm going to finish this row and then, or excuse me, round while we're talking, because there is a crochet tip that if you don't know, you guys got to know. And I say that because this is one of those tips that's really essential. And it's not that I didn't necessarily know how to do this before, I just didn't think it mattered until recently. And let me tell you, after implementing this crochet tip, it like legitimately matters. Like, I pretty much do this all the time now. This particular tip only does apply for things like double crochets and stuff like that. But if you're crocheting any row that has height, this row definitely, or this tip, excuse me, is definitely something that you'll want to pay attention to. But for now, I'm just going to crochet this round because this is like a beginning of the round kind of crochet tip. So I will be sharing that with you and explaining it once we get to the beginning of the round. This is the beginning, this is where I'm at, so it's going to be a minute, but I think it'll be alright. So I am not following a pattern, I am just doing it rando style, kind of like I always do. So it is a Seahawk themed beanie that we're working with. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys want to subscribe. Help me get monetized. We're kind of far away from that, but helping me get monetized would be great. If you guys didn't watch my last live, you'll know that I moved and I'm staying with somebody temporarily until I can get the financials to get my own place and get everything set up and set in where I am at. So because of that, I've made the executive decision to only do lives on my channel temporarily, just because I haven't been filming and posting anyways in a while, and I just don't have the means to. But I figure, I could still go live at least. So that's what we've been doing, is going live. I've been here for about a month now, and I have been loving it so very much. It has been great. It's starting to cool down here, even though it's still pretty hot. Also, let me know if you guys can hear me good. So if you guys can hear me good, I would just appreciate it. I'm using my earbuds for the mic this time, so I would like to know if you guys are able to hear me. I don't know how many rounds of this hat I'm going to do exactly because again, it's random. It's like a rando pattern I just did. I just know how to make hats and I just do them. I don't really follow patterns. I mean, sometimes I do. Like I did with this top that I made, but for this hat, I just did 2 strands of 4-ply worsted weight I Love This yarn, which is a Hobby Lobby brand exclusive. And I like it because their yarn is a little bit like more drapey and softer than other acrylics. But also another reason that I love it is because it's a lot higher quality. Like I'm not worrying about it splitting as much and stuff like that. So if you want a really decent acrylic yarn that's actually decent quality and doesn't disgust you when you look at it, like Red Heart, no offense to Red Heart, but used to be a great yarn. But the quality of the yarn is so terrible now I can't even use it. Like it's just so bad. Like it splits, it doesn't stay together very well, it doesn't even wash well anymore. But if you're looking for a good alternative, these are 7-ounce skeins. They're 7 ounces, 199 grams, 355 yards, 325 meters, 100% acrylic. It is washable and dryable. And it's only $4.99, which isn't bad, I feel. So, and their labeling is really cute. Like, look at how cute the labeling is. It's all like shiny and sparkly, and it kind of has a little bit of a texture to it when you're touching it. It's just really cute. And all of their labels look like this pretty much. This one says I love this yarn because it's acrylic. They have a cotton one that says I love this cotton, and so on. And I just think it's nice. I just think it's really good for the price. I think it's a way better quality acrylic yarn over Red Heart, personally, in my opinion. I've got about 20 years or so almost of crochet experience, so I've been crocheting long enough, I think, to be able to formulate an opinion that y'all can trust. Because I've mostly used Red Heart Super Saver throughout my crochet journey, but I hate that stuff. I hate Red Heart as a brand now, just because the yarn quality is just not good. It used to be good way back when I first started, and then they sold it to China or whatever. They sold the company to a cheap manufacturing facility, and now they make not good yarn. They could, because a lot of people don't like acrylic because they think that it's a bad yarn, but acrylic is a really good yarn if you make a good quality acrylic. Like this is Hobby Lobby's brand, and I'm having no splitting at all. So I mean, if you just made a decent quality acrylic, it wouldn't be an issue. So yeah, Red Heart, get on your game, because I want not only inexpensive good yarn, like inexpensive yarn that's good value, but I also want to be able to make high quality items that look and feel good. And this acrylic does have structure, but it is a little more drapey, and it's just it just feels nicer, you know what I mean? So here's where we're at, and here's the end. So we're getting close to the end, which means I can then show you and explain to you close up what my crochet tip and trick is, because this is something I recently learned. I mean, I guess I somewhat knew about it. I didn't really know it was like a hack, if you want to call it that. I just thought it was just a preference of how you crochet or whatever. I didn't think it actually did anything. But now that I've been doing it for a little bit, I can tell you firsthand that it does do something, and it is like the superior way of doing things, in my opinion, just because things look nicer. And I will kind of show you what I mean in just a minute. If anyone wants to leave a comment, go ahead. Say hey, say hello. I will be getting to the end of this row, or this round. I keep calling them rows, but they are rounds. And then we are just doing double crochets with front post double crochets. That's how I'm doing it. So I'm just doing 4 double crochets, and in the 5th one I'm just doing a front post double crochet, because I just basically crocheted a flat circle, and then I ended my flat circle with 5 double crochets and an increase. So every 6 got an increase, which means there are, 5 in between each. So I did 4 double crochets, and in the 5th one I did the front post. You just make a flat circle like you normally do for a hat, and then however many stitches are in between each increase on your last increase row, that's how often your posts are going to be placed. So I did 5 double crochets and then an increase in the 6th one, meaning that there's 5 regular double crochets in between, basically. So 4 double crochets, and then the 5th one would get, so every 5 basically would get a front post double crochet. So I'm going to kind of get closer to you guys because I want to show you guys this. Shit. Sorry. It's doing it again. And I don't know why. It's because it's turned off. There we go. Sorry, you guys. Sorry if it made anybody dizzy. So I'm just going to get close and show you all. I'm going to bring you closer. So this is, I don't know why it's doing that. I like legit, sorry you guys, it's having problems. I just legit don't know what's going on. It's just not working. It's like not working and I don't know why. Hold on, you guys. I don't know why it's not working, but we are going to figure it out. And that's how it's going to go. There we go. We are figuring it out. Okay. So this is what the end looks like. I just made my loop kind of big so it's out of the way. So this is the end. But you can see here, you can't see like a stop and a starting point. It looks identical to all the other postages. So here's what you do. It's kind of hard to show you from this angle, but what you do is you start each double crochet row with a stacked single crochet. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put, because my last stitch is a post, so we're going to put a post in the last stitch, and then this is what it looks like after we've done that. You can't even tell where the end is really. It just looks like everything else. So what you're going to do, shoot. I just pulled out my front post double crochet. Whoopsies. So I'm just doing the front post double crochet again really quickly. And then what you're going to do from here is you can see you have this space, right here, you have this space right here, and then this space. This is basically like a chain. This is like basically your stitch. It's not an actual chain, but it acts as a chain. So you're just gonna place your stitch in your stacked single crochet of that row and make a regular single crochet and then turn it into a stacked. So a stacked single crochet is basically where you stick your crochet hook in the stitch like you normally do, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So it's basically a basic single crochet. But then what you're going to do to make it a stacked is you're going to go through these, it's hard to see, but through the 2 front loops. You see how there's like that V there and then the top? You're just going to go through this area here. So you're just basically going to go, you're going to go through that little side post of the stitch right down here. And then you're just going to make a single crochet on top of that. It would be easier to show you if you were on top of me. So basically, every stitch has a V going like this and a V going on top. And it's the side post in that V. Like that, it's this one. And you're going to go in there and you make a single crochet on top of that. And then what it does is it makes this loop here and this loop here. This is your actual stitch. This acts as your chain. And if you start all of your double or triple crochet stitches or taller stitches with the stacked single, you can't really tell. It just looks the same, basically. And you can't tell. So you can't, there's no visible marker of a stop and start up like after you've connected your round. After you connect your round, you can't tell. And then from there on out, you just do your regular double crochets. And then see, I will do a couple more stitches and kind of just show you how it looks with an unfinished row. That's what we're going to do. So we are just going to do up to this second post here. Okay, so we have one more double crochet and then up to this post here. Okay, so this is how much we've crocheted. You can clearly see that this is the beginning and this is where we're at. However, after you connect them, you can't tell at all. I like that you can tell while you're working the round. That way you know where the end is without needing a stitch marker. But you can't really see that, you know, the line that it normally makes because there isn't one. It just looks like every other post. Like legit every other post. And then I guess I will show you kind of what the inside looks like. I feel like maybe you can kind of tell like a little more on the inside, but like not really. So if we were to flip it inside out, you could maybe kind of tell like right here on the inside, but like not really that much. Not enough to be like, ew, it looks weird or something like that. So I feel like this is a superior way to go, but again, this only really applies if you're crocheting like double crochet rows and whatnot, because the stacked single crochet is the same height as a double crochet. And again, you can stack it as many times as you want. So if you're doing like a treble or a triple, you just do the same thing again. So you would just keep stacking it to get the height of the stitch that you want, and then that would replace that stitch and chains. And again, it's literally, you can't tell. You like legit really can't tell. I mean, you can kind of tell that the stitch looks a little different, but it just looks uniform. It just looks like I changed my stitch in that one spot slightly, but it doesn't look like a beginning or an end, which is great. So if you're working in rows or in rounds, I highly recommend the first one being a stacked single crochet when you're doing doubles, triples, whatever, because it literally makes it so you can't see the end, which I'm down for. So that's what I've been doing. Right now I'm just starting the next round. And now that I've explained that, I'm sorry I couldn't show it better because the phone is like this, and if it were tilted like above me like that, then I would be able to show you all better, but hopefully you get it. So when you're doing a single crochet, like a stacked one, you can just keep stacking single crochet on top of single crochet, and that would just make the extra ones would just make basically the chain. So like, let me show you, for example, I'm just gonna, for example, do a single crochet in this one. So I did a single crochet. Now I'm going to do, it's hard to show, but this is the loop that we're going to be going in right here, right there. So you're just going to stick it in, and then you're just going to work a single crochet as normal, but you could keep doing that, meaning you just take your hook again, and then now that we've done that, we're going to go up here in this one. So we're just going to stick our hook in the front post of that one, and then work a single crochet as normal, and then you just keep doing that until it's the height that you want. So for a treble or a triple, you would do it 3 times. So you would do the regular single crochet and then 2 stacked on top, and then that would be the equivalent of the height of that other stitch. Now it does look a little bit different, but not really enough to be like, not really enough to look weird and out of place, but that would be how you do it. And then you don't have to slip stitch to the beginning of your round or anything. You just go from your last stitch to making a single crochet in that first stitch, and you don't end up seeing that extra loop, and it just looks really clean. You can't see a start or stop really, and yeah, I just love how it looks. It's a really easy thing to do when you're doing the double crochets, and it definitely works. I will need to measure this soon to figure out how many rows I need to do, because I'm making this hat for a customer. They just said they wanted a Seahawk themed hat, and I just said, okay, I will do what I can. So that's what I've done, and yeah, I did not measure his head, so I'm making 2 different styles and 2 different sizes, and then I'll just sew him whichever one he likes and fits better. So this one obviously is double stranded. It is the pink and the blue stranded together, and then the other one we won't do double stranded. We'll just do you know, so many rows of green, so many rows of blue, that sort of thing. And I will be doing the other one a little bit smaller, because this one is supposed to be a large adult size, and I'm just going to do a regular adult size because I don't know what size this customer needs. So, and it's fine because I have enough yarn to make another hat anyway. And what else was I going to do with this yarn anyway? So it's just more stuff I can sell at this point. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then I'll meet up with him in public. And we'll then, you know, it'll just be easy. He'll get to pick whichever one he likes better and fits him better, and then I'll just have the other one to sew. And I was gonna make another hat to sew anyway because it's that time of year. Because I have enough to make another hat, obviously, but not enough to make a huge project, so I figure people are gonna want Seahawks hats anyway. So you know, and I got this yarn obviously at Hobby Lobby, but what I was going to say about it was we went and we were struggling initially to find the yarn section because it's a Hobby Lobby I'd never been in before, so we were just kind of walking around till we found it. We found it, obviously. And the lady greeted us. She was very nice, the worker there. Shout out to her if she sees this, but I don't remember her name, unfortunately. But she asked me what I was looking for and what I was making. It's like, I'm looking for yarn. I'm going to be crocheting. And she's like, well, what are you making? And I was like, well, I'm making a Seahawk colored hat, like a themed hat for a client of mine, a customer. And I just need some acrylic yarn. Do you have any Seahawk colored yarn? And she's like, oh, you mean like this green and blue? She just grabs it off the shelf, basically throws it in my basket for me, and was like, is this what you're looking for? And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm looking for, but I was also maybe hoping that you had like a variegated color. And she goes, oh, we don't. This is what we have. And it was what I was looking for anyway. So shout out to her for being so helpful because we talked. We hung out for a bit while I was looking at the yarn. And honestly, Hobby Lobby's I love this yarn is just a superior quality yarn in relation to Red Heart. I'm sorry, it just is. It's durable, it's softer, and it's more durable in my opinion, and it literally is just like I'm not having a splitting issue at all. I'm not saying that you couldn't get the yarn to split, because you can. If you try, I'm sure it'll split. It's just not as naturally prone to splitting as, like, say, Red Heart is. And I just really like it. I just really like it a lot. It's just really nice. And yeah, I just think it's great. So, I don't have my yarn ball winder with me, so that's kind of a problem. However, that would make it a lot easier. However, I'm making it work. So I didn't measure his head because I was actually at the bar crocheting, and this guy goes, well, I like your crochet. Could I pay you to make me something? And I was like, yeah, you could pay me to make you something. What do you want? Depending on what you want. And he goes, well, I want a Seahawks colored hat. And I just agreed to do it, but I didn't measure his head. But I figure his head's not bigger than an adult large. So that's what we're going with, adult large. And then just a regular adult size. I just looked at a sizing chart, and I'm just measuring. So I'm just going to do 2 styles, and then he can pick the style that he wants. And then, yeah, that's just what we're going to do. So, and then I'm going to make another Seahawks hat. And if I can make, like off this one hat, I'm making more money than what I spent on the yarn, so that's good. But that was my tip and trick of the day, was just that when you're working anything taller than a half double, if you do the stacked single, the first single that you make acts as your chain, and then the single that's stacked on top of it acts as your regular single, which then is the height of a double crochet, surprisingly. And you could just keep stacking them for whatever height that you need it to be for whatever stitch that you're making. So if you're doing like triple or treble, however you want to say it, you would just stack 2 on top of the original one. So there would be a total of 3. There would be the original and then the 2 that are stacked. And then that would obviously do it. And honestly, once you connect your row or your round, you can't really see like where it stops and starts. There isn't like, it just doesn't look like there's a stop and a start area, which is really nice. Like, you don't really see the join, like, at all, because you just keep going and going. And because you're stacking the 2 stitches on top of each other, that first stitch acts as the chain, so you don't need to make chains, which is really convenient, because although the chaining method works, it just doesn't look that good, honestly. And if you want a more professional look, I highly recommend it. I am just going to crochet the single crochet without stacking it. You tell me where the stop and start is, other than where the loops are coming out of. Like, look at how crisp and clean that looks. It just looks like every other spot. I don't know how long I need to make this, so I think I'm gonna stop here and Google how long it needs to be, and then measure it and go from there. If there's any watchers, please comment, because I am not getting any comments from y'all. I don't really like talking to myself, you guys. So let's Google it. Let's get out my handy dandy laptop and let's Google it. Okay. So we're just Googling it now. This should be good. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Oh, I can. So we can do length for mid-ear, length below ear. I think we should do a below ear so it covers the ears. So we have sizes premium, newborn, 3 to 6 month, 6 to 12 month, 1 to 3 years, child 3 to 6, child 6 to 10, adult or small teen, adult medium, and adult large. So those are all the sizes. So we did the crown diameter, which is about, for the adult large, it's 6.75. I did the adult extra large, I believe. That's what I did for mine. I believe that's what I did. I'm not sure. Let me make this smaller because that's not the one that I used. We're just gonna click on images here real quick. I think I used a different size chart. Aha, this might have been the one. Oh no, it was, I think maybe this blue one that I used. So we have preemie, newborn, 0 to 6, months 6 to 12, 1 to 3 year toddler, 3 to 10 child, and then it goes teen / adult small, adult medium, adult large, and adult extra large. So I did the adult extra large just because I wasn't sure how large his head was going to be, and then I think I'll just do like a regular adult large also, so he'll have a couple sizes that he can choose from. So the crown width, which is how big the circle part is between 7 to 7.5 inches for the adult extra large. And then the height is between 9 to 9.5. So we need a height to be 9 to 9.5. So I'm going to look at that other one again that we were looking at earlier, because honestly that might show more what we're looking for. Yeah. So I looked at this blue one too, which is a little different. I don't know, that's basically the same one. It's just... Okay, so that's what we're doing. It's like my computer is freezing. I don't know why. There we go. We're going to go to all mode, and we're going to look at this one and see what it says. Adult large below ear length is about 9 inches. So if we do 9 inches, it's about what we're looking to get, which is good. So that's what we're looking for. So I need to get my pouch out, my Estee Lauder pouch. Also, what time is it where you're from and what you having for dinner? It is 8:53 here, and I have not had dinner yet. I'm thawing out a steak, because what I do is these steaks are like longer steaks. They're wide, but they're really long too. So I cut the steak in half, and then my partner, he eats half the steak, and then I eat the fattier half because I prefer the fat. Like, I don't want all fat, but I prefer the fat over the not fat. So we have the hat, which is this long so far, and the length of the hat does include from the top of the flat part all the way down. So it's not just the length of the walls, it's the length of the entire hat. So we are measuring in inches, and we're hoping it's going to be about that long total, which is like 9 inches. About to there. Okay. So the way you measure it is you measure it from the very top all the way to the top of the circle, all the way down. So we are currently looking at, I would say, about 7.5 inches. Yeah, I would say about 7.5 inches. So we do need to continue a couple more rows for it to be done, and then we can start on the next hat, which I think will be good. So I think that will be nice. Okay, so now that you've seen how I start my rows, now this starting method doesn't really apply to single crochet rounds or rows, because the stacked would make it too tall, obviously. I really like this and how it's turning out. So I believe each double crochet is about an inch, a little bit less than an inch in height. So let's measure, shall we? So it's about ½ inch. So each row of double crochet is about ½ inch, and we were at 7.5 inches so far. So this row, or this round, excuse me, would put us at about 8 inches because it is each double crochet is about half an inch, which is kind of short, honestly. I thought a row of double would be at least an inch tall, but it's about ½ inch tall, which means a row of single crochet is about 1/4 inch tall. So that's what we're doing. Once I moved into my own place, you guys, I will be able to set up my own crochet area. I don't know if I'm going to have like a full-blown dedicated room for it, but I will have like a dedicated little like area in a room. So I will do it in my living room most likely because I'm just going to get like a little 1-bedroom apartment. So I could sleep in the living room and do like a pull-out couch situation and then have my crochet room like in the actual room, but I would rather have like privacy. So I'm thinking I'll probably just. Sarah says hi. Oh, said hi. Hi, Sarah. Hi. Hi, everybody. We are just crocheting. So we're trying to figure out how many more rounds of this crochet hat that I need to make. It's an adult extra large because I don't know what size he is. So I'm doing one hat that's adult extra large and one hat that's just a regular adult large because men's heads are, usually a little bit bigger. So that's kind of that. And if you missed the tip of the day, Sarah, I can explain. So the tip when you're doing rows or rounds of double crochet or treble crochets or whatever, you start each round with a stacked single crochet, and then you can't really see where the join is. I can see where the join is like right now because I haven't finished the row yet, but you can see that's where you can see there's not really a start and stopping line when you do the stacked single crochet. So that's the tip of the day. And that has improved the quality of my crochet so intensely because like once you work your last stitch and then you work into the join, you can't really see a join is my point, which is really, really convenient because you're not slip stitching it by joining it. You're just continuing working. So the last stitch of the round for this project is this post stitch right here, and then it goes to this, and you just work a single crochet in the top of that stitch. And so there isn't like a join line or anything, which I find very convenient. And for any new watchers that weren't previously watching earlier, this is Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn, also used to be known as I Love This Acrylic, because it is 100% 4-ply worsted weight acrylic. It is way better quality than Red Heart. I'm going to tell you that now. I prefer their cotton yarn though, just because I've been really liking cotton yarn lately. Oh yeah. I just thought I'd share you that tip because I wasn't sure if you were watching earlier when I had mentioned it. And I knew that you could do that before, but I didn't know. I just thought it was preference, just what you like to do versus what you don't like to do. But I found out that it's very crucial to your projects looking professional and looking more uniform because you can't tell where the join is. Like if you couldn't see that this spot here was a little bit taller, if you couldn't see that this spot here was a little bit taller than right here, you can't see the join line. There's like no join line at all. It's still a little hump up until you work back into that first stitch, but once you do, you can't, there's like no visible join line, which makes it great. No, I joined with a stacked single crochet. So basically, I will show you after I do this front post. I'll do a couple regular stitches and then I'll kind of show you what a stacked single crochet is. So it's kind of hard. I guess I can just kind of like do this and kind of show you like right here. Well, actually, that's not going to work because wrong camera. So a stacked single crochet, let me just kind of show you, is basically where you work a regular single crochet into the space. So you have your regular single crochet just like this. And then the stacked single crochet is you're just going to go in this loop right here. So you have the sideways kind of V looking thing on top, and then you have the V on the bottom. So if you have the V on the bottom, which is the post of the stitch, and then you have the sideways V on the top, you're gonna work a regular single crochet and then stick your hook into the side, this part of the post, this part of the V. So if this is your post of your single crochet, and it's kind of more like this, you stick it in this side of the V after you work it. So you stick it right in here. I'll stick it in and then I'll show you. So right, it's kind of hard to tell, but right in there. And then all you're going to do from there is just work a regular single crochet. So you stick it right here, right there, in there. And then you just work a regular single crochet on top of your regular single crochet. And so then you have two loops. This is from the original single crochet, which now acts as your chain. And then this is the new single crochet. No, at the beginning and end, you make, it's a stacked single crochet. That's all you do is just a stacked single crochet. So when you go to join the round, you do a stacked single crochet. So let me show you. So all of these stitches are doubles, and then you have your front post stitches. The last stitch of this particular round is, if you can see right here, a front post, and then right here is where you join, and you're just going to work a stacked single crochet on top of that stacked single crochet from the round below. So that's all you do. There's no slip stitching, there's no special joining method. That's all you do. And that's pretty much it. And it works for double crochets. And you can do your stacked single crochet as tall as you want. So if you want it the height of a triple, you would just do it again. So you would just find the V of that second single crochet that was on top of the first one, and then place your hook in this portion of the V, make a single crochet. And you could do it a fourth time too. You go on to the fourth stitch or the third stitch, find this post of the V, stick your hook in there and keep going. And you can literally do that an infinite number of times. Like legit. So as long as you can get the hook in there, you can do it. And you just do that to the height of however many, whatever height your stitch is. And so that's what the regular stacked single crochet is it's the regular single crochet and then single crochet stacked on top. And that initial single crochet acts as the chain, and then the other one acts as the stitch. See, yeah, and it doesn't make a join line. You might be able to kind of tell that it is a slightly different stitch because it does look slightly different, but not really. There is no join. You just work a stacked single crochet inside of the stacked single crochet. There's no joining. That is the join, which is great. So you just work all your other stitches as normal, and then you get to the end and you just create your stacked single crochet in the first stitch just like you always do. And yeah, there's no joining method, really. That is the joining method, I should say. And it's really convenient because like it doesn't make a join line. And I knew about it before kind of, but I just never really had done it that much. And I didn't really know. I just thought it was like, oh, a cool thing people like to do. Like maybe they like the look of it or something. I didn't know that it actually mattered and that it was something that made your projects look more neat and uniform and that it eliminated the join line. I didn't know that it did that. Like I had no clue that was a thing, that was something that did. I just thought it was like, oh, a cool thing people like to do. I didn't know it actually mattered really. But if you don't like that join line, it definitely matters. So we are working another round. We have to do a few more rounds because we were at 7.5 round or 7.5 inches, and we need about 9 inches, which is below the ear height. So I believe we should be at either 8 or 8.5 inches now. Yeah, one thing I like about the stacked single crochet is you can stack them as tall as you want depending on the stitch that you're using. So like I said, if you're doing a treble, you could do 3, or I think it's called a double treble. I don't really know what the stitches are after treble or triple. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really use them. So if you have like a stitch that's 3 lengths tall, you would just do it 3 times total or 4 times or 5 times, and that'll get you to the height. Because those stacks are technically your chain. And then the final one would be like your actual top of your stitch, if that makes any sense, which is cool. So that's cool. So if you're doing a slightly taller stitch than a double, then you just add an extra stack on it. The only thing is it does look a little different. Like you can tell it's not a double crochet, so it does look slightly different. So I guess that's the only way that it would look like a join line, is just that it looks different. But there isn't like one spot that's slightly shorter than the other, which I like. Which, you know, it's just a nice thing to know. I just thought it was people's preference. I didn't know that it actually was like what the professionals were doing to make their hats look uniform, or projects in general. And also you can do, if you're working double crochets, you can do stacked single crochets for flat work too. So like if you're doing a project and you're just doing like a row, the beginning of every row would get a stacked single crochet if you're doing doubles, and that does make the edges look straighter and more uniform, and it just looks nicer that way. So this doesn't only apply to rounds like circles, it applies to pretty much everything in the double crochet world. So it just looks nicer. There isn't really a join line because you're not really joining, you're just continuing to go, which is really nice. So I believe I'm going to be done with this round soon. I keep saying row and I mean round. I'm probably about halfway done with this round. I'm going to do about 9 inches. That's what I'm going to do for this hat. I'm making it for a customer. I'm making 2 in different sizes and different styles to give him options, because I was going to make 2 hats anyway already, just because I have enough yarn for it, and so I could have an extra one to sell. So, and Sarah, if you do want to stay, I will kind of show you how I finish, just so you can have a visual if you're still here. We're a little over halfway. Actually, we're more than halfway, because we're way more than halfway, actually, because we're right here, and this is actually the end. So, for me personally, my last stitch of my round is actually a front post double crochet. Okay, so this is I literally finished my last stitch, and so I'm just going to go in the top here and do a stacked single crochet. So you're going to see 2 loops, and you're going to crochet inside of the bigger loop, because that first loop is just technically your chain. So I'm just sticking it in the top of the stacked single crochet from the prior round, and I'm just making another stacked single crochet on top of that. And then that, yeah, other than being able to notice a slight height difference while you're crocheting the round, obviously because the round below is lower than the one on top of it, but you can't really tell. Like, tell me that you can tell. Can you tell? Even up close, you'll even tell that the stitch looks slightly different. Like, barely. But there's no join line. You can kind of tell on the inside of the hat a little bit. Sort of. Like a little line. Just because the actual stitch is a little bit different. But yeah, see, you can't tell. You can't tell. Which I love. And I didn't know that this would fix that. I just knew that, hey, some people just like to do it because it was easier to start the row around that way. I didn't know that it actually mattered in whether or not you had a seam line. Anywho, that's a great tip. I do have another tip if you stick around to finish this hat with me. I do have another tip. And you guys are probably already doing this, but if you're anything like me, you might be doing it wrong. Because I was doing a technique incorrectly, and it wasn't working right. And I just thought, well, maybe I'm just not good at it. So we're going to do about 9 inches of the hat. So I'm starting pretty much from the very, very top. So we need about 1 more inch. I can't tell how long that is. We're going to do a couple more rounds, I would say. I'm actually going to hold it up to here. I would say we're about, what would you say? About 8 inches, everybody? Hold on. Would you say that's about 8 inches? A little less than 8 inches, like about 8 inches. If we lay it like inward like this more, then it's only going to measure about like 6 probably. If we do like this, yeah, it measures about 8 inches. So we're going to do another 2 rounds of this. This is too big for me. I'm going to try it on. Excuse me, guys. It's too tall for me, but actually this does fit me. It's not supposed to fit me, guys. It's supposed to be too big for me. And if you stretch it, it is too big for me, but it does stretch to fit larger heads, which was kind of the whole point. So, because now it's too large for me. It's a little big on me. So we are going to do a couple more rows. I'm going to do and if you want to stay, I've got another tip at the end, but I can't show you now because, well, it's kind of a tip that you have to do after you like finish the project. It's a finishing tip. It's a tip you guys are probably already doing. Oh, thank you. It's Seahawks for the Seattle Seahawks. That is why I chose the colors, because the person I'm selling the hat to wanted Seattle Seahawks colors. And their colors are kind of like an off gray or an off white, but we didn't add that. So we are going to do like at least 2 more rounds of this, and then like a round of single crochets I like to do just to kind of finish it off. I personally find that it looks better when you finish your projects off with 1 round of single or some kind of finishing edge. We're just going to do a round of single. Now this hat is very easy and basic to make. I've made this style of hat before. Did not follow a pattern. I just did it kind of random. Meaning, I just did 10 double crochets in the magic loop. Actually, 1 stacked single crochet, 9 double crochets in the magic loop. And then that's round 1. Round 2 is 2 double in each stitch with 1 stacked single crochet in the first stitch. So the first stitch gets a stacked single and then a double. And that's how the first stitch always starts. 1 stacked single, 1 double. And then 2 double in all of the remaining for a total of 20 stitches. And then the next round 3, it starts with a stacked single crochet and then a double because there's an increase in the beginning. And then the second stitch gets 1 double, and then the third stitch gets 2. So it's single, double, single, double, single, double, starting with a double. So your first stitch will always get a double, and it's a stacked single crochet and a double. And then after that, the second stitch is a single, the third is a double, fourth is a single, fifth is a double. And then for that would be that's the third row. So the fourth row would be the first stitch gets a stacked single crochet and a double. And then there would be the second stitch gets a single, the third stitch gets a single, then the fourth stitch technically gets a double. So this round would be double, double, single, 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 double, single, single, double. Starting with a double, the double is an increase, by the way, if you didn't know. It's 2 and 1. So that would be that round. So the first round is working in the magic loop. The second round is two double crochets in every single stitch. The third round is 1 in every other. the fourth round is 1 in every 2. So it would be double, single, single, double, single, single, double. And then the fifth round would be double, single, 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 double. So you increase 1 space per round. So for every round you go up, you increase 1. So the first one is just the magic ring. The second round is 2 in every stitch. The third round is 1 is increase in every other, and so on. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your comment from before, Sarah. That is really cool. Just so you know, check out the Hobby Lobby website. They do a 30% off all yarn bi-weekly. So go to hobbylobby.com and it'll show a picture of their printable ad. And you'll see it's either going to be sewing fabric that is 30% off or yarn that is 30% off. And if you don't see the yarn that's 30% off, then you're going to have to wait till the following week. It's bi-weekly all year long, every single week. They've been doing it since that was like the first thing they started. And that's like their signature thing. So 1 week, it's 30% off all fabric. The next week, it's 30% off all yarn. And they just alternate. And there's no exclusions or limits. That's the thing. No exclusions or limits. And it's every yarn brand they carry, unlimited quantity, 30% off. So this past week, it was 30% off all fabric. So starting tomorrow for me, which is Monday, it's going to be 30% off all yarn. So I already know that ahead of time. And it's the same everywhere, worldwide. So wherever you are, if you have a Hobby Lobby near you, or even if not, the sale is also an online discount. So you can use it in person or online, whichever shopping experience is most easy for you. So if you can't order it online in person, you can order it online and you can still get the 30% off discount. So this week starting tomorrow, because it's Monday for me, this week starting tomorrow is going to be their 30% off all yarn, and then the next week will be 30% off all fabric, and then the next week will be 30% off all yarn, and so on and so forth. So that is kind of how that goes. So I just thought I'd put that out there. But if you're unsure, you can always go to the website. It'll show a picture of yarn because it's a picture ad. It'll show a picture of yarn and it'll say 30% off all yarn. So if you're seeing the ad and it says 30% off all fabric and then it shows a picture of fabric, that's not the week. And it goes for the whole entire week. It goes from Monday to Saturday. And then they're closed on Sunday. So just a tidbit, because Hobby Lobby is a Christian-based business. So they're closed on Sundays to allow all of their employees to go to church if they choose to, which I think is really nice. I mean, even if you don't go to church and don't believe in that type of thing, it's still a really good sentiment that they offer that to their employees. So yeah, I really like how this is working out. Sarah, or anyone watching, I don't know where you're from exactly, but this is our local state football team colors. So yeah, that's why the colors are the ones that I chose, because of that particular reason. So we will be doing this round. We're going to be doing at least another round of this pattern. And then the third round, which will end up being just some single crochets to neaten out the edge a little bit. And I must say, if you've never tried the Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn, the acrylic, it's a really decent quality acrylic. Like, I'm not having any issues with splitting. I am occasionally having an issue with catching one strand of yarn instead of two, but that's my own fault. It's not the fault of the yarn. And it's a really soft yarn too, and it glides on the hook really nicely. It's like, if I want acrylic yarn, this is the yarn I'm buying. I'm sure there are other really good quality brands of acrylic. I'm sure Red Heart's just the cheaper brand. But I actually really like it. Their colors are nice. Their packaging is cute. You could almost cut out like this little part and make a little collage to hang up on your wall. So you could do like one of the I Love This yarn. You could do like the I Love This cotton, because they have different blends. So it's I love this, and then whatever type of yarn it is. Their label used to say I love this acrylic, but now it says I love this yarn. Their other one says I love this cotton, and if they have another one, yeah, so you could just cut those out. I think that'd make a cute, like, little collage. From Virginia. Oh, cool, cool. I'm from Washington, United States. So, I did just move, though. But I'm still in Washington. I didn't move states. I just moved, like, 5 to 6 hours away from where I was living. So, we didn't move states. We just moved cities. But like 6 hours away from where I was. But still in the same state. I lived in Washington my whole life pretty much. Although I did live in Kansas for a little while. I was married once upon a time, and I told my then husband at the time that I wanted to stay in Kansas and make it work, because we moved to Kansas from Washington, because he had family there, because he's adopted and he had family there. And so we went to go live with his family until he could get set up there. But after much consideration, we moved back to Washington. This was years ago, because we decided that Kansas, it just didn't feel right, and it just felt like no matter where you were, it just felt like you were in the middle of nowhere. So we didn't like it there. I am no longer married. I do have a partner, but I'm no longer married. I was married for about 10 years. And I'm kind of no longer married anymore. So, yeah. Anywho, I have lived in Kansas. But other than that, I've only ever lived in Washington. Also, one thing I like about this yarn that's really nice is, even though I'm crocheting with 2 strands of yarn, it's not too stiff. Like, it's still relatively drapey. It is a little thicker, but it's relatively drapey. It's not too thick. Like, it's pliable, it's malleable, I can squish it. It moves. It's not like hard as a rock. Some other acrylics, it's like you want a thicker yarn, but it's like both strands is too thick, but the one strand is too thin. This is like perfect. I'm using a 6mm. It does say on the yarn label to do a 5.5, but with the 2 strands you will need like a 6, which is only half a size bigger for a whole extra strand, which is not bad. And honestly, this yarn feels really good on the hands too. Like, it's not making my hands all scratchy and itchy in any way. All in all, I actually give this acrylic yarn a 10 out of 10. I'm not sure that I've used it extensively that much before, but this will be my new go-to acrylic. Because it's just a good acrylic. It's soft, it's not scratchy at all, but it's really like durable though. It's not like super flimsy. It's like more durable, but really like still drapey and soft at the same time. So I really like this. So let me know, you guys, like what time it is in your it is 9:31 p.m. on Sunday night. I'm sure for some of you guys it's morning. This yarn is really nice. Like, I don't mean to be bragging about the yarn so much, but I didn't realize before how nice this acrylic yarn was. Because I've been kind of steering away from acrylic, but not if the acrylic is this nice. I gotta admit. The acrylic is this nice, I'm gonna keep using it. So we are getting near, roughly near the end of this round. So we are going to measure again, do most likely one more round of this stitch pattern, and then finish it with a round of single crochets, which the single crochet round will go faster. But also, Sarah, if you are new, if you're new to crochet and you decide that you like crochet later down the line, I highly recommend you get these hooks. These are the Clover Amour hooks. Obviously not right now because you just bought hooks, but if you're new to it and you really like crochet, you were just saying you bought hooks, so I wasn't sure if you were new. These are some other sizes. You have a blue H. You have a 5.5 millimeter. This is a newer hook for me because I had this exact hook, but I lost it. And then you have another size, which is a G. This is a 3.25, which is a D, which comes in orange. I have a 3.5, which is a red. I have a 2.75, which is a bright yellow. These are just kind of dirty from being in the bottom of my thing. I have a 3.75, which I use to make this top, which is a F and pink. I am missing a hook. But these are pretty much the hooks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I am missing a couple sizes. I'm missing the 4.5. And what else am I missing? I'm missing like 2 hooks. Which is weird because I should only be missing 1. But anyways. Oh, no, here's the one that I said I was missing that I'm not missing. So this is a 2.25, which is a green. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there is one I'm missing. I'm missing a 4.5, a 4.5. I don't know. It's like a lighter, more tealy blue color. But these are what the hooks look like. These. Oh, cool. So you did buy a set online. Good. I was just going to say these are supreme. I have personally, excluding this one, because I lost the original one, so this is the replacement. But I've had this entire set of Clover Amour crochet hooks for about 8 years now. And some of them are a little dirty from being in this Estee Lauder zipper pouch thing. But they are washable. You just wash them with some hot soapy water. They wash right off. Dry them real quick with a towel. Takes, I don't know, 2 minutes to wash or less. They're very quick. So I don't really worry about them getting dirty because they clean up really nicely. So they look, other than some of them being kind of dirty, they look brand new. I've had these exact hooks for 8 years. Except for this one is the replacement one for the one I lost. Because I lost it somewhere. And I'm missing one still, so. But yeah, for 8 years of owning these hooks, they're fabulous. I use them all the time. Like, I crochet a lot. So, and all the time. So for any new crafters out there, any new crocheters, if you're not ready to jump and buy these yet and you just want to buy a couple, that's fine. But when you're ready to make that leap and make that plunge, I highly recommend the Clover Amour crochet hooks because they're really grippy. They're soft, but they're really grippy. Like, my hands don't slide on this. Over time, they will move a tiny, tiny bit, but that's to be expected because I've owned these hooks for 8 years, so I mean, that's a long time. But I don't notice it when I'm crocheting. Like, I can physically make it do it, but it's not something that you would notice when you crochet. Yeah, they are great. Do you have the Amour set or the Soft Touch? Because I've had both sets. I personally don't like the Soft Touch because they're more plasticky. I personally like these better. And also, the other reason that I do like these better than their Soft Touch is not just the way that they feel, but also the fact that they come in fun rainbow colors. So you could memorize your hook sizes based off the color. You know that your I is always going to be the green one. You know that your J, your 6mm, is always going to be this chocolatey brown. You know that your H is always going to be this blue one, right? And so you have these fun colors. Oh, the Amour, yes. Which is great because honestly, you can coordinate your hooks based on your projects. To a degree. But I find that when you have hooks that are different colors, I find they're more fun to use. I'm just not a fan of hooks that are just labeled different sizes, but they're the same color. I mean, I guess maybe for aesthetics, but I like the rainbow colors. I like that they're all different. So, because you've only had yours for a limited amount of time, it looks like you bought yours on sale for about a year ago. So that's what an 8-year-old set looks like, in case anybody is wondering. They will last you a long time. The only reason I would ever see needing to replace the hooks is because you lost one, which is what I did, which is the reason I replaced it. There's nothing wrong with it, I just lost it. So, and I replaced it several years later. So, yeah. But if you were just curious what they look like after years of use, this is what they look like after years of use. And I'm hard on my crochet hooks, right? But yeah, I don't like to crochet with any other brands. I will try other brands, but my Clover is my tried and true because they're just amazing. So I'm about to finish this round. We do have one more round of the pattern, possibly, and then obviously our round of single that we gotta do. But I'm just gonna finish this round first. And then once I'm done, I will then measure it. I'm gonna just start out doing the single crochet because even if we're just gonna do a round of single crochet, it's not gonna matter. I can start out and do the single crochet. It's not a huge deal. I'm just struggling to get it through. There we go. And then I won't stack it. I'm not going to stack my single crochet yet until we determine if we're going to do a round of single yet. Or if we're going to do another round of the hat. Like, I don't know if we're going to do another round of the pattern or if we're going to do another round of the single. Or a round of single. Like, I don't know what we're going to do yet, so I'll stack that single crochet as soon as we find out. So it looks like we're about we're just over 8 inches. So I would say we're about 8 inches probably, roughly. So I'm going to do like one more round, I think. I think that's what we're going to do, is one more round. Yeah, so we're just over 8 inches. Yeah, I'm going to do about another round or so. Let's try them. You can. There's a lot on YouTube. I just make up my own. I just follow a simple basic pattern for the top of my hat. So you just do 10 double crochets in a magic loop. Technically, it would be 9 double crochets in one stacked single. So that would be round 1. Then round 2 is going to be 2 double on every stitch, except for the first stitch gets 1 stacked single crochet and 1 double. And then the third round would be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. Then the next round would be 2, 1, 1, 2, you know, so it would be 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And then the next one would be 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on. So it pretty much goes in numerical order, pretty much. Counting backwards. So it goes from 2 and every other, you know what I mean. It's like a numerical order. And you just do that until it fits about half of the top of your head. So once you place it on your head and it's fitting about half, then you can stop and start. Roughly about half, maybe slightly larger than half. Because you don't want the flat part to cover the whole part of your head. Because when you start making the walls, that will fill up some of that space and cover part of it. So if you make it the entirety of the top of your head for the flat part, then it will actually be too big. So that's just the start of the hat. And then I just recommend experimenting with different stitches. Like I did the flat base that I'm talking about, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. So the first round I did 10 double crochet in the magic loop. Well, technically it's 9 double crochet in the magic loop, 1 stack single crochet, and then I did 2 stitches in every space, 2 stitches in every other space for that third round, 2 stitches in every third space, 2 stitches in every fourth space, 2 stitches in every fifth space, and then 2 stitches in every sixth space. And you just keep following. So if you need your bottom hat to be bigger, then you would do, the next round would be 2 stitches in every 7th. Then the next one would be 2 stitches in every 8th, 2 stitches in every 9th. And you get it, so on and so on. And it'll stay flat as long as you do that, and you just keep going and going and going. So this is not my hat, so it would be a little bit larger. I'm going to do at least another round. And then we'll do some single crochets. And then I will show you the finishing trick. So I gotta do the stacked part first. So I'm just gonna do one more row of the pattern repeat that I'm doing. And this pattern is just 4 double crochets, and in the 5th one you do a front post double. So it's 4 regular double, 1 front post, 4 regular double, 1 front post, ending on a front post double crochet stitch. And then that's pretty much it. But the top of the hat is all flat. So this is a very easy textured project to make. You could even just do a front post in every single stitch if you wanted. Or more frequently, you just have to count your stitches to see if it'll work. Like maybe every 2 could work, depending on like your stitch count and whatnot. And I don't know if you like scarves or anything like that, but you could make a matching scarf to go with it. I won't be doing that because this is not for me. And I'm also making 2 versions of the hat. One with a single strand, and then I'm just going to be changing colors. Which I'll probably do another live and show you how I change colors now. Now this is something that made my projects look more professional and neater, and I just overall like it better. I'm just learning this stuff now, pretty much, even though I've been crocheting for almost 20 years, but the thing is, I just stuck to what I knew for all this time, and I didn't really branch out that much. I wasn't that much of an experimenter, because I just didn't want to mess up. I mean, I did some experimenting, but I meant with crochet techniques. I experimented with some different stitches, but I didn't really experiment with a lot of crochet techniques until more recent years. So I was just afraid, Also, if you yarn over when you're doing your front post stitches or your post stitches, instead of yarning under, it does better. They look more uniform and neater. Oh, I have a waffle stitch hat. I made a green hat in a waffle stitch. My favorite stitch would have to be, because the waffle stitch is actually not a stitch of its own, it's a stitch pattern, technically. But yeah, you can call it a stitch, pretty much. I like double crochets or singles. I just like the look of those. Also, my flowering upside down stitch that I invented is really cool. If you want to learn a new crochet stitch, you can look on my channel. I have the flowering upside down stitch. There's a taller version. There's a few different versions on my channel. If you want to go check that out and learn how to make them. Those are not stitch patterns. Those are actual stitches themselves. If you know how to make singles, you know how to make doubles. They are really easy to make. And it's a really unique take on a stitch. I did invent them a couple years back. I made sure that it was my own invention. Like, I asked around. I did lots of Google searching, and I actually invented this stitch. And there's varying heights of said stitch, and they're very pretty. It looks like a flower that's like upside down, that's kind of slowly starting to bloom upside down. And then the taller ones kind of look like the flowers going like this. Like the flower bud is opening up, but then also opening out like this, but then also the stem, like it's growing up. The taller versions kind of look like that. Oh yeah, that's the half double is really good too. I agree with you that the half double is a really great stitch. So if you want to learn the flowering upside down stitch and the taller versions of said stitch, you can only find that on my channel, because I invented it and I never have really seen anybody do it other than who I've shown. And like I said, it is a stitch of its own. It's not a stitch pattern. So it's very easy to make. It only requires one space, like one stitch to make the stitch. So the only thing is for this particular stitch, you do have to have a base row. You can't make the stitch inside of chains, so it does have to have a base row, meaning you can do a row single, double, half double, double, whatever you want for your base row. So you just do chains for however big you want your project to be, and then you just do your base row, and then that second row would be where you would start the flowering upside down stitch. There's taller versions of it as well, and it's worked inside a singular stitch. So if you want to go check that out on my channel. And if you're watching and you have not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe to the channel, because once I get my own place and get settled in, we'll be doing regular content again. Yeah, it's a really cool stitch. It's really fun. So like I said, it's like a flower bud that's like, you know how sometimes they start to open before they lean upward? It's like that. So the regular one is just like a flower bud that's like hanging down like this, but it's open. And then as you do the taller stitches, it like looks like it's like leaning up more. So that's why it's called the flowering upside down stitch, or FUD for short. So that would be the abbreviation. And I like that it's not a stitch pattern, that it's actually its very own stitch. And so therefore it's easy to make. It's not a complicated deal. And it just looks a little different. So yeah, I like that with the yarn that I'm using. It normally calls to do a 5.5 millimeter, which is an I, but I'm able to get away with 2 strands of yarn together and only using a hook size that's half a hook bigger, which is really cool. Because a lot of yarns, when you double them, you have to use at least a hook to a hook and a half size bigger. But with this, I'm using a 6 millimeter, which is only half a size bigger than what they recommend, and it's plenty big enough. And I really like that. So, you only need a slightly larger hook to double it. And I'd say for tripling it too, you would only need like a 6.5. And I think that's pretty neat. So it's strong, it's sturdy, it's durable, it's nice and soft at the same time. It has some decent draping, which is really convenient. And there is hair, which is really noticeable. My hair likes to shed. So we are probably getting close to being done with this round. Oh, we are. And then I can do the round of single crochet and show you the finishing technique, because that is something that you all probably know and maybe have been doing, but you've probably been doing it what I personally agree to be incorrect. And I say that because I was doing it the other way before. Same technique, you're just doing it backwards, and it makes a difference, which I didn't know. Just like I didn't know the yarn over and yarn under debate was legit, because I didn't know that technically yarning under is incorrect, and the correct formal way is to yarn over, because it makes your stitches look the way they're supposed to look. You can do it whatever way you want. However, I've learned, and as was told to me, that if you yarn over instead of yarning under, your stitches look nicer and they actually form correctly. As long as you don't care and you want to yarn under, go for it. There's nothing wrong with yarning under, but just on a technicality, they say that yarning over is the correct way to do it because it forms your stitches more correctly. And I found personally in my experience that to be true. Because my front post double crochets were looking weird before. And I couldn't figure out why they looked weird and never looked the way that everybody else's looked. And I found out that it's because everybody else was yarning over while I was yarning under, and it was making my stitches look weird. Like they were just not sitting right. Okay, so we're finishing up this round, and the last stitch of the round for me is a front post double, and technically it's the single crochet is the first stitch because that's how you start the stacked, just a regular single. So I am going to lay this flat. I am going to measure it. I'm going to assume it's big enough. I have enough yarn to make a second hat. I could probably make 2 more hats with that yarn if I don't, because I'm doing single stranded. So it's about 8.5, I'd say. It's about between 8.5 to 9. So we're going to stop there and we're just going to do a row of single crochet. Now what's great about this is we've been doing stacked single crochets at the beginning of each round because we're doing double crochets. But you just don't stack the crochet, the single crochet, you just don't stack it. So you just make a normal single crochet like you would to start your stacked single and then just don't stack it. So it doesn't even look weird when you want to add a row of single, because you start the row with a single crochet anyway. You just don't stack it, because the last row is just going to be a row of single. We're already almost a quarter of the way done with this round already. And I just find that a single crochet edge looks really good. So that means I can show you guys my finishing technique. Which is really, really nice. Like, look how beautiful this single crochet edge looks. Like, it looks really beautiful, doesn't it, you guys? These are just basic stitches. I highly recommend, if you guys are looking for a better alternative to Red Heart Super Saver, the Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn is really good. They sell all kinds of brands, but their in-store brand is the I Love This brand. And their yarn is really good quality. Like, it's not cheapo. It's like 10 times better quality, in my opinion, than Red Heart Super Saver. Like, I would never, like, Red Heart Super Saver could never. I just, it just couldn't. So I'm probably almost done with the round. Because we're only doing 1 round of single. We're not doing 2. And then yeah, we're almost done. You can't even see, oh my gosh, you like legit can't even see where the end is on this. This is helping my crochet game. Like a lot. You really have to look to see where the end is, because I was like, where's the end? Like, I can't even see it. Like, I legit couldn't even see it. So I'm going to have to slow down because I might start a second row single on accident because of just how much you can't tell. You have to look at the height difference of the crochet stitches. Okay, we're done. We are done. I have this much yarn left over for reference. And now, this is what it looks like. You can't see a finishing row, like a finishing line at all. So I am going to show you my technique. I took out my hooks and I piled them on top of my scissors. So the finishing technique is cut your yarn, and I would cut a few inches off extra so that, you know, you're able to weave in your ends, of course. And I've been doing this technique for a while, but I was doing it wrong, in my opinion. So we're going to take a yarn needle. This is a thicker one. It's metal. Also, for anybody that's new here, this is my notions container. It screws on. My friend Amy, she made this for me. Made of resin. And I really like the fact that it screws on, so like there's no risk of it coming off. Like, you can't pull this off. You just physically can't. Because it actually has screw threads. And it threads on. And it holds like my stitch markers and my yarn needles and my, technically my measuring tape fits in there too. And I also really like the scalloped edging on it too. So it's a nice translucent sparkly blue, and I freaking love it. I needed a little notions container for my stitch markers, and it's cute. You can throw it in your bag, and it's just really cute. I love it. I take it with me everywhere when I crochet. So what you're going to do is you're working your last single crochet like you normally do, and then you're just going to pull the loop out like this. So this is what it looks like. I just pulled it out. Here's the end. And then you may have already been doing this, but it's possible that if you don't do it the way I'm showing you, you might be doing it backwards, making it to where, yeah, it works, but it just looks a little funny, you know? Because I was doing it backwards. When I saw somebody else doing it, and it came out really perfect, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try doing it that way compared to the way that I normally do it, like different direction. Directions matter here, which I didn't know. So normally what I do is this is the stitch that we finished right here. Hold on, right there. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to look for the very next stitch, your first one, and normally I would stick the needle in through the front like that, but what you're going to do is you're going to stick the needle in, both of them, through the back instead. Watch this, through the back. Now, pull it all the way through. You have a loop that looks like that. Pull it through. And then normally you would go on top of your last stitch and stick it through just the back loop on your last stitch that you made of the round or row, right? Well, instead of taking it and sticking it through the loop, the back loop, like this, that's normally what you would do, right? That's the last stitch of the prior round. So you stuck it in the first stitch of the new round, the last stitch of the prior round. But here's where I was doing it wrong. See how I'm going front facing? You're supposed to go backwards facing. So you're sticking it through the back loop going like this direction. Instead of going this direction, don't do that. go, instead of going from front to back, you go from back to front. And then what that does is it gives you a top loop that looks like it's supposed to give you a top loop. I believe it was supposed to give you a top loop. Did I do that wrong? I might have did that wrong, guys. Hold on. I might have did that wrong. Okay, I'm going to look up how to do her. I'm going to look it up because I think I did it wrong. Again, because I can't ever get it right for some reason. Give me a second, guys. I'll find it. Okay, I'm doing it just like she says. Okay, I'm following her thing, and then, because I might have done it wrong. Okay, pull it up, yes. It's a quick, I was doing this technique before, and you guys probably were too, but I was just doing it backwards. The direction was wrong. Yeah, so you come through the back, go through both the loops of the first stitch of the starting row, pull all the way through. Aha, that's what I was doing wrong. Aha, you guys, I figured it out. Okay, I figured it out. Aha, you guys. Okay, so you're going to take your hook and you're going to stick it back to front through the first stitch of your crochet project. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to pull it through. And it's going to look something like this. Then you're going to take it and you're going to work backwards. And this right here is your last stitch. This is the first one that you came out of. This is your last one. So in this one, you're going to go from back to front. And you're going to take your hook and go through the front loop. The way that I was doing it was taking the hook, sticking it from front to back through the stitch, and then going back through the back stitch, which is backwards. So then you stick it from back to front, going through the front loop of the last stitch of the row before, not the back. And then you just go, pull it tight. And then no one will ever know. Right? I was doing it backwards. So I was basically doing where you stick it through the front like that, pull through like this, and then I would go like through the back like that, you don't do that. You go from back to front, not from front to back. And then all you do after you get it, I would say leave it a little looser than you want it, and then you just take your yarn and stick it to the other side and weave in. And the reason why you want to leave it a little looser than what you normally have it or want it to be is because after you weave it in, it's going to pull tighter when you weave it in. So just leave it a little looser than you want it so that it's not being pulled too tight when you weave in your ends. There you go. And then you can't even tell. But I found out, seamless. I found out that I was going from front to back, and I was sticking my hook in the back loop of the stitch, or the needle in the back loop, and you need to be sticking your needle in the front loop. And instead of going from front to back, you need to go from back to front. And that's crucial, because it would always look weird. You would always see like a slant. Like instead of like just making the V going straight across, it would kind of like slant over a little bit like this. So I was already doing this technique before. I was just doing it, in my opinion, incorrectly. I was doing it the opposite, wrong direction. So you need to stick your needle from back to front, and instead of placing your needle in the back loop of the stitch before, you need to do it in the front loop of the stitch before. So you work one step forward and then one step back. So that is the thing. And then you can pull it tighter as you weave in your ends. You just need to make sure that you leave it a little loose for that, so that when you're weaving in your ends and tugging on things, that, you're leaving room for it to pull tighter. If that makes sense. And then you just go through and you just weave in your ends, just like normal. Now, I personally am going to take my time weaving this in, because again, it is for a customer, and I don't ever want it to come out. I don't want there to be a number of washings that it can endure before it comes apart. I don't want it to ever come apart. So you just weave it in a whole bunch of times. This is probably my last amount of times. You can loosen it over time if you find that it's too tight. And then now that we've weaved it in, also I got these really inexpensive scissors at Walmart, and they might not be really cute and stylish, but the grips are nice and they're very sharp. Like look, when I cut the yarn, I don't have to try to like do that. I just snip and it cuts. Now, I probably cut way more than I needed, but that's what you do. And then you just go like this. You can also go in with your hook or your needle and kind of go in to make the loop a little bit bigger. It does slant some still, but not nearly as much. And this is what the end looks like. This is what it looks like. You can't really even tell. Slightly you can tell. But like not really. And that's only because the other stitch is a little bit bigger. It's because it was a I have no clue what this is. This isn't good. What the heck is this? That is not good, whatever that is. It's a freaking loop sticking out. I don't know what that is. Well, we'll just have to fix that. Because I don't know why that loop is sticking out. That is not good. Well, I did not know that was like that. So we're going to have to fix that, and I'm not sure how. I might have to undo a couple rows and redo it. It's okay. It is A-okay. I thought I was going to be done, but that's just not going to work. I'm just going to have to go in and undo my row of singles. That's just not going to work out. Sorry, you guys. Well, that's pretty much the hat. I'm going to have to undo and redo a couple rounds to fix this. So I'm going to have to cut off that round of single crochet. However, I am not going to do that on the live. So yeah. I am going to go. Thank you so much for tuning into today's live. Thank you for the great on the hat. Thank you for the comment. That is where one of the loops came out. So I'm going to cut, undo up until that spot and redo. You won't ever know that it was cut though. But yeah, beautiful. Looks really great. Hopefully my client's happy. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will catch you guys in the next live. Bye guys.